memes going around on social media. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. And it's just got me thinking about we started a new year, and no sooner did people express hopes, aspirations about a better 2021, and then we find ourselves in a situation of new lockdown restrictions, certainly across the UK and England and Scotland particularly, and also new fears, new tiers and new fears being the new variant of COVID. And once again, that can bring up so much in people's minds and in worry about their livelihoods, about their business, about having to be able to juggle homeschooling and with two young children at home. That's I find it a total illusion or anathema that you could actually have homeschooling and run a business under the same roof. It just doesn't happen. It's impossible. Certainly in our sort of family experience. But anyway, what I wanted to do is get on here and say that from a business point of view, we have to shift away from thinking happy new tier and happy new fear to happy new gear. What I mean about that, this is kind of thought was prompted by a conversation I was having with HSBC yesterday. And they were saying, we're talking about the portfolio of their customers and their businesses. And we were talking about the level of debt taken on for CBILS loan, business bounce back loan, and that sort of thing. And the important thing was saying that this year, whilst most people had headroom in their businesses to be able to take on a level of debt last year, this year, if businesses need to extend that, they're not going to have that headroom. And it made me just think about that. If there was one word to describe most businesses' response last year to 2020, it was survive. It was, what do we need to do to get through to the end of 2020? How can we build cash reserves? How can we build liquidity so that we can get through? Certainly when I was advising people I work with, advising clients, I was saying, do your cash flow planning until the December till the end of the year, back in April. Make sure that you're planning into early 2021 when you can be looking for a recovery, not thinking for 1 minute we'll be looking at further lockdowns for months at the beginning of 2021. So really this phrase that was bandied around a lot last year about a new normal is becoming kind of true, particularly for those groups of people that just chose to hibernate last year. So for me, the point being is that we need to have a new gear of thrive. If last year was about survive, this year is about thrive. And just in the spirit that, when I used to coach people to help them earlier on in my career to climb the career ladder, I said, you need to show up as if you are the operating at the next level up, operating at the level of in the role that you aspire to having. Just like a martial artist student is taught to kind of like punch beyond the point of contact on the face because they'll slow up. Otherwise, they slow up just before they hit the face. You need to push beyond. So I think a time frame in line with what we're thinking about for in terms of thriving should be 2023. We always overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. But before I get onto that, a couple of ideas, perspectives, antidotes. So happy new tier. One of the things that brings up is dread. Oh no, not again. And I certainly know that many people that I spoke to towards the end of last year were completely drained, worn out, down because they were so fatigued and so battle weary. And so I know in my own experience, I felt pretty much the same way and had 2 weeks switch off with the family over Christmas and New Year and properly enjoyed that. And it was a big recharge. But that tells me now that actually we've got to keep going with the recharge component of our work. And hey, my days become even more challenged and fragmented with 2 young kids at home, and as both my wife and I trying to work, and my wife going out away to as a key worker to work. So it's become very difficult, but I'm reframing some of those things in my head. Right, an hour and a half out with the boys in the fresh air is part of that recharge experience. Even though I might be a little bit frustrated that I do a split shift on the work side of things. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is around happy new fear is, hey, we are in a time and a period where there is so much control, fear-based control being exerted upon us, that we have to be really careful in curating who we listen to and follow on social media, what media channels we pay attention to. Just a quick, all over, whether it's Brexit, whether it's coronavirus, whether it's the crazy stuff incited by Donald Trump in the US, there's this fear being circulated. So, unfollow off social media the people that are not going to help you. You can stay in a good positive space. If we want to change if we want to come with creative solutions to complex problems, we've got to be in the right state. And if we're allowing ourselves garbage in, garbage out, the old computer metaphor analogy of absorbing all the fear all the time, it's not going to help us. I'll put my hand up. First lockdown, I had plenty to say about my disapproval. I live in Wales, the disapproval of the Welsh government. Did it do me any good? No, it did me a lot of harm in getting me angry and getting frustrated. I just ignore it now. There's no point. There's no benefit of following that to my world anymore. I'm paying attention to surrounding myself by people that have got a plan, they've got a goals, and that we know where we're heading and what we want to achieve, and the difference that we want to make over that period of time. So curate your sources, your influences, to make sure you're pouring good, positive, uplifting stuff in. For me, I've absolutely been majoring on over this period, work on mindset, on a daily ritual around mindset, and that's been massively helpful to counteract, to combat, to push away and keep at bay all this fear stuff that's going around. So back to the Happy New Gear piece, is that we need a context of thriving. And actually, this looks like it's here to stay. Different people I'm listening to at the moment are saying, one guy I spoke to yesterday from a big corporate was saying, we're 9 months in, we're probably only halfway through. Wow. Interesting perspective. So really, for those businesses that did not pivot in 2020, for those businesses that chose to hibernate, take the cash and hold on to wait and see, we've now got to be thinking not only about how we can better serve our customers, asking that question, who are the people that we can serve best right now with the resources that we've got, and what are the problems that they have? Those are questions we've got to be asking on in a timely basis right now. And we also need to be going and asking those to our customer base. We need to be asking those to our teams, our employees, and we need to be spending some time to be thinking about pondering that. Set some goals and do that plan backwards thing, plan backwards from where you want to be in 2023. For so many people, they've been paralyzed in their thought process by all the kind of curveballs or changes of the working landscape that we've had and the public health landscape that we've had and the rules, what we cannot and we can and cannot do. So it's paralyzed their planning, their decision making. So I think when we have a problem or an obstacle, we need to chunk up above that. We need to look at a longer time frame and saying, where's that North Star in our business? So let's say most people probably think 5 years is too far out. Let's look at 3 years, 21, 22, 23. Right, where do we want to be in 2023 and start to plan backwards, set those goals? It's still a lot of uncertainty in 2021 at the beginning, but over that period of time, we hope things are going to be sorted out. But this was kind of like manifested in my goal setting at home with my wife. She said, come on, let's sit down and plan 2021 goals. I said, you know what? The way the year is already looking, I don't think that, we're setting ourselves up for success. Let's say what we want to have achieved by 2023 and then plan those things, get excited by those things that we're going to do in our lives with our family and our business, etc. by 2023. So that, I think, helps to shift past that immediate obstacle, saying we're in this for a long term and therefore we need to find a new gear. Let's move away from survival. Let's move to thriving. Now, for those of you who know, I brought a book out last year called Survive and Thrive: How to Secure, Scale and Succeed in Business. I saw a post. One of the guys that interviewed me on his podcast in Singapore put a list together of his top 12 books to read for 2021, top 12 business books, and I'm super proud that this made the grade. And one of the people in the comments below said, love Survive and Thrive. I picked it up, read it in 4 days. I could not put it down. It is packed with strategies. Part one is about what do you need to do if you are still in survival mode, and part two is how do you set yourself up to thrive. And there's a 6-part process I call the strategy compass, my own model about scaling and growing business that I've proven time and time again to scale businesses large and small. So my key message is, whilst others are fixating on new tiers and new fears, we've got to fixate on a new gear. Let's set our planning horizon to 2023, and let's set ourselves up not to survive anymore. We've had enough with that. We've done that. We've got to set ourselves up to thrive in 2023. And there's another real economic reason why it's important that we shift gears. The quantitative easing through the furlough scheme, through CBILS, through business bounce back loans, came to the rescue for many businesses last year. There is so much for those businesses that haven't taken advantage of BBILS and CBILS. Great, you need to be doing that, and you need to be doing that right now. However, for those that have, their ability to be able to increase that borrowing is going to be incredibly limited by the ability of the banks, the credit departments within the banks, their view on whether they're going to be able to service that debt. So you're going to see a tightening of credit, and if you're going to get out with it, there's not necessarily going to be this great big gift of time being given to you in terms of borrowing, because you may be borrowed up to the limits in your business. And I know that some of the businesses that I've seen and looked at have had a lot of borrowing that they've taken on through the CBILS, BBILS scheme. So now we have to go for Happy New Year. There isn't any other savior. You know, we've those that know me know I like my sailing and my storm analogies. You know, with storm sails being up, the weather looks like it was abating, but there's a new weather front coming through. We've just got to learn how to sail smarter, conserve our energy, and operate better as a team, and making sure that we're still fixated on our point of destination, our safe harbor. And so those are my thoughts around the start of the new year. You know, I'm big on mindset, and more than ever, you know, the secret to success and mastery over these current times is our mindset. And one of the points I want to make about this, and that is that often when people set goals, I will challenge them and say, are those goals worthy of someone of your skill, your experience, your passion, your insights, your intellect, your training, and your sheer drive and determination? And more invariably, the answer that I will get back from that is, well, no, they're not. So then you've got to raise your goals. Well, certainly we're all being presented with the challenge that is worthy of us right now. And I really do think when we are challenged the most, we find out how truly capable we really are. When we're really pushed the most, we find out how truly capable we really are. Hey, Joseph Campbell, A Hero's Journey. Every Hollywood movie follows that plot of where the hero is challenged and only discovers at the point of greatest challenge how truly capable they really are. And I think we're facing that at the moment. And now's our challenge. Now's our opportunity to stand up, take a new gear, and to thrive between now and 2023.